Alright, so let's go ahead and finish up conics. What we've got here, hyperbolas. And we're going to make this as basic as we can. Alright, so right here, at the points of my parabolas that I have here, so the turning points, those are my vertices. Make this smaller. So, vertex. And that's another vertex. Here's another one, and here's another one. Okay, those are plus or minus a units away from the center. So that should be familiar to us. Right here, these are going to be our co-vertices. So those are between the parabolas and on that little dotted box. And that dotted box is what's going to guide our asymptotes. So, co-vertex. And those are plus or minus b units away. So, right here, this is b units. And right here, that's a units. Alright. Then, right here, on the inside of our parabolas, we have our foci. And those are going to be plus or minus c units away. Right here in the middle, we have our center. That's where our asymptotes intersect. It is also going to be equally distant from my vertices, my foci, and my co-vertices. It is the midpoint of the foci. All right. Coming down here, we're not going to do this. And so for our standard form equation, we have x minus h squared minus y minus k squared equals 1. We have a squared here and b squared here. The other standard equation we're going to have is going to be y minus k squared over a squared minus, minus x minus h squared over b squared equals 1. So you can see the only differences here is that my a squareds are staying the same and my b squareds are staying the same, but I'm taking my numerator and I'm switching either the x minus h with the y minus k. So that's the only thing that's changing. So in other words, my a squared, my vertices are always going to be on the left as long as they precede my subtraction sign. So that means that my vertices aren't necessarily always going to be the biggest number. It's just whichever one's on the left, okay? All right, here's your little checklist on how to graph. Let's put it together. So right here, we have our center. Our center is going to be at -2, 1. So -2, 1. And so we'll go ahead and go to -2, positive 1. And then here, my a squared is always on the left. So this is a squared. So that means that a equals 4. And just like with ellipses, because this is underneath the y, that means I'm going to go up and down that many. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And now here for my x, this is going to be my b squared. So that means that my b equals 2. So that means I'm going to go horizontally 2 from my center. So now what I need to do is create my little box where this right here is going to guide my asymptotes. So then what I'm going to do with this then is going to go ahead and go from corner to corner with a straight line. And it's going to go straight through my center. And now I just need to figure out how I'm graphing this. All right, and so right here, since my a squared is still my vertices, and those are my turning points on my graph, and those are underneath my y, that's where I'm going to be going, is I'm going to be opening up and down. Not side to side, but up and down. Okay? So that's going to be my graph. I'm not having you do anything else with it at this point in time. We might add on things later. But for right now, we're just keeping it as simple as we can. We've got enough already on our plates with this next test, so this is as much as we're going to cover. All right? Right here, just like that as well. We've got over here, my center is going to go ahead and be at 2, -3. And right here, if I'm looking at this, I'm thinking ellipses, and I want to make this be my vertex, but it's not. Remember, my a squared is always on the left as long as it's before the subtraction sign. So that means that a equals 2. So let's go ahead and go to our center at 2, -3. And then my a being 2, and that's underneath the y, so I'm going up and down 2. Up 2, down 2. And then here I've got my b squared equals 9, so my b equals 3. So I'm going to go right 3 and left 3. Create my little box. Okay. And now I can go ahead and create the little straight line that's going to go straight from corner to corner and straight through my center. And these are going to be my asymptotes. Alright. So now I just need to figure out which way my graph is opening. My a squared is always my vertices, so yes, I can have a horizontal box and I can open up, because that's exactly what I'm going to do here, because my a is underneath the y. It's always whichever one's on the left there. So I've got my graph. Look at something like this. Okay. Honestly, all right, here we go. Last one of this style, where my center is going to be at 1, -2. So 1, -2. And here, my a squared here is on the left, just like it was before. So I've got a squared equals 16, and then here I've got b squared equals 9. So that means a is going to be 4, and here b is going to be 3. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go right and left 4, because this here, my a is underneath the x, and x is right and left. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. My co-vertices are going to be up and down 3. And then now I can create a little box. Right. And draw my straight lines. Oh, I forgot something important. I kept forgetting it when I taught it the first time too. We need to talk about slope. Alright, we'll finish this and just do that really quick. So here, the a is underneath x. So here is what a horizontal one will look like. It's because the a is underneath x. Okay, so they're not all vertical. And a horizontal too. Now, in order to figure out what our slope is rise over run, right? So up and down is y, and right and left is x. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to figure out whatever is the value, the non-squared value. So if I take the 9 and I square root it, I get 3. So that's going to be the one that's underneath my y, so that's first, and then I'm going to go 4 here. I got plus or minus. So it's always the non-squared term once I square root it, and it's whatever's underneath the y over whatever's underneath the x. And it's plus or minus because I have a positive slope and then I have a negative slope. And I can double check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I started right here at my center and I counted up and did my slope, I go up 3 over 4 and I hit my next point. Okay? Right up here, let's do the same thing. Here, it's going to be plus or minus 2 over 3 because I'm taking this number because it's underneath my y, and I'm putting it over this number because that's underneath my x. So it's always y over x, plus or minus 2 over 3. So again, I'm going to start at my center, and I'm going to go up to right 3, and there you go. I hit my next one. This one right here, my slope will be plus or minus 4 over 2, which gets me plus or minus 2. And so anytime I have just a whole number, remember that's really technically over 1. So here I'm going to start at my center and I'm going to go up 2 over 1. And that works. So it's always going to be that way because this is the number that's underneath my y, this is the number that's underneath my x. So it's not always a over b, it can be, just like in this case, b over a. So it just depends on where that y is located, so you got to be careful about that. Alright. Okay, so right here, I'm going to go ahead and complete the square here. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this with my x's together. And then my y's together. And I'm going to get that number over to the other side. Alright, so with the x's, they both share a negative 16. So that's going to give me an x squared minus 2x. I have to remember that I'm switching the sign here because I'm dividing out a negative 16. So 32 divided by negative 16 is negative 2. Okay, and then here I've got plus, and they both share a 9. So I'm going to pull out a 9. So I have y squared plus 2y plus blank. And that's going to get me 151 plus blank plus blank. Alright, so right here, negative 2 divided by 2 squared equals negative 1 squared. So it gives me 1. And then that's going to get me negative 16 times 1, so negative 16. Here, I've got 2 divided by 2 squared. That gets me positive 1. So putting 1 here, so 9 times 1, so 9 here. So here, this is going to reduce down to x minus 1, because this is a minus 1 squared, plus 9 y plus 1 squared, because I have a 1 right here. And this is going to equal 151 minus 16 plus 9 gives me 144. So now I just got to divide everything by 144 so I can get this to equal 1. Right. So here, negative 16 over 144, it reduces to negative 1/9. So I got x minus 1 squared over negative 1/9. And then here, 9 over 144 reduces to 1/16, so I've got 1/16. And then here, this equals 1. Now the only thing is here is that I have to have this negative sign in the middle, so really the correct way to write this would be y plus 1 squared over 16 minus x minus 1 squared over 9 equals 1. Always make sure your subtraction is in the middle.